Hello friends, it's good to be with you again. It's time for another bedtime story with Bandit. We're so excited to be with you on this Easter weekend. It's Good Friday, and I hope you got to do something interesting for Good Friday. Maybe you got to do something out of your Easter surprise bag, if you have one. Maybe you had a nail cross necklace that you made, or perhaps you made one of the cross crafts, or maybe you worked with the resurrection eggs. Whatever you did, or if you didn't get to have a bag, maybe you could make a craft. A craft I would suggest that goes with today's story is a handprint lily. You take your hand and trace it on a white piece of paper. You can also trace it on a green sheet of paper. And you take the white and you wrap it around and you put it together and you tape it until it looks like a lily. And you can have some yellow pipe cleaner sticking out like the yellow stamen, and you can have some green pipe cleaner sticking down for the stem. You can add some green leaves with some green palm prints. It will be wonderful, and you can decorate your dinner table with it. That would be a wonderful idea. Well, tonight's story, as I mentioned, is about a lily. It's about the parable of the lily, and we know that parables are special stories that teach us something about Jesus. So tell us what you think this story is teaching us about Jesus.
The Parable of the Lily, written by Liz Curtis Higgs, illustrated by Nancy Munger. One wintry day, the farmer's daughter shuffled through the snow, headed for the mailbox at the end of the lane. Brr! It was cold. She peered inside the mailbox and found a small white envelope. Surprise! It was addressed to her. Dear Maggie, the letter began, I'm sending a very special gift just for you. Look for it very soon. Maggie loved getting presents, especially a gift as mysterious as this one. When would it come? Who was it from? What would it be? The farmer's daughter waited and waited, some days patiently, some days not so patiently, and then one very ordinary afternoon, a box appeared on her doorstep. The gift had arrived. The farmer watched as his daughter excitedly tore off the wrapping paper. He was eager to see what she thought of her present. But Maggie didn't say a word. She just stared at the small wooden crate full of dirt. Dirt was not at all what Maggie had been hoping for. Poking out of the soil was a small piece of paper that told Maggie how to care for her gift. Hide in a cool, dark place. Water as needed. When spring comes, bring into the light. Then she knew it must be a growing thing, like a bulb that would someday bloom into a plant. Oh dear, her long-awaited gift wasn't a toy or a doll or a game after all. The farmer could see that his daughter was very disappointed. His heart grew sad. The gift was from him. With a sigh, Maggie carried the wooden box down the steps into the darkest corner of the cellar and left it there on a shelf. Sometimes she remembered to water it, but most of the time, Maggie just plain forgot. But the farmer did not forget. He just waited and he watched. Spring came at last. The air was warmer and the gray skies had melted into a robin's egg blue. What a welcome sight the sun was! It was time for the farmer to hoe his garden, getting the soil ready for the seeds that filled his pockets. Maggie wanted to help, so she marched down the cellar steps to get her own Maggie-sized gardening tools. That's when it happened. Searching for her toolbox in the darkest corner of the cellar, Maggie knocked the forgotten crate of dirt off the shelf. Crash! The crate splintered into pieces and soil was everywhere, and the flower bulb that rolled to her feet showed no signs of life. What a mess! Maggie was mad at the box and even madder at herself. She swept up the dirt and threw away the broken box, grumbling under her breath. And that ugly old flower bulb? She tossed it out the cellar, never to think of it ever again until Maggie woke up earlier than usual Easter morning. A warm breeze blew through her bedroom window, and the chirping birds seemed to call her name. Still dressed in her nightgown, Maggie tiptoed out into the garden. She was hoping to find some daffodils or tulips to decorate the table for Easter breakfast. That's when she saw it. The loveliest lily that God had ever made was blooming on the edge of her father's flower garden. Its white petals unfolded like a trumpet. Its leaves were green with new life. Its scent was as fragrant as the most expensive perfume. Maggie knew all at once what had happened. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry or to shout with joy, so Maggie did all three at once. "Wake up, everybody! Wake up! Come see! The gift is alive!" Her family hurried out to the garden. They couldn't believe their eyes. So much beauty from such an ugly box of dirt. Maggie noticed the farmer standing in the doorway, quietly watching. His smile gave away his secret. "Father, it was you who gave me the lily." Maggie squealed with delight. Suddenly, her little girl smile began to fade. Oh, dear! She had thrown away her father's gift without so much as a thank you. How that must have hurt him. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she said, putting her little arms around his big waist. "Will you ever forgive me?" "Oh, my child," the farmer whispered, hugging her tight. "That is what Easter is all about."